So welcome to the 18th session on Aparokshanubhuti. The replays of all the other 17 talks are available if you want to catch up on YouTube, which the link is shared in the chat. It's called Advaita Retold, where Binduji's several talks are catalogued very clearly. You can also listen to the replays in Clubhouse itself. If you go back to Binduji's profile, you'll see all the talks. So as an introduction, Aparokshanubhuti is the text that is pinned above. If you look at the text that is pinned above, it is to do with a translation from Swami Vimuktananda. And there is no commentary in this document, so it's just a verse-by-verse translation for the Sanskrit document. But if you're more interested in just a Sanskrit interpretation of it, there's a link in the chat. And that is also a document it's a 14th century commentary from the Advaita scholar Bṛhadāraṇyaka. And there is no English written commentary. So you can think of this sessions that Binduji is offering as not just an interpretation of Binduji, but also a translation of Aparokshanubhuti text. And if you listen to the replays, you'll understand what Aparokshanubhuti means. And just as a few housekeeping rules, we'll close the chat and hand raising when Binduji is offering the session. And after that, we'll have a half an hour session open for people who have questions related to this topic that Binduji is talking about. And with that, over to you, Binduji. Hari Om.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Atmisha. Welcome all. So, we will start today's session with the normal invocations. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrabhyo Vamsharishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vipagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. The Aparokshanubhuti starts with Sri Harim Paramanandam Upadeshtaramishwaram Vyavakam Sarvalokanam Karanam Tam Namamyaham. In the last class, which we concluded the 40th version, 40th sloka, the 17th class. Today we are on the 18th class, where we found that there are two bodies which are being referred in the 40th verse, the gross body and the subtle body, Sthula, Sukshma, Vibhagine. So these are the two ways in which the body can be experienced by us. We have the physical body, which is of gross nature, with hands, limbs, etc. And we have also subtle body or Antakarana, which is the mind, intellect, etc. So these two are the bodies which are referred as Sthula and Sukshma. So in that, the verse which we concluded, the self was shown distinct or different from these two, because the knower is different from the known. So we have this knowledge of our physical body. So we are the knower of our physical body. Same way, we know our emotions, feelings, thoughts, logic, etc., which is in the subtle body. And that also we are aware of it. So we are the knower of these two have to be different. So the question came then, who is this? Who is the knower? Atma iti. So that has been referred as Atma. in the Advaitic, in the parlor, which is the self in us. He is also referred as Purusha in the Shastras. Purusha is one who indwells. Uri Shayanat Purushaha. That means one who is indwelling in the physical and subtle bodies as consciousness or a substratum in which the bodies, Sukshma and Sthula, take support for their existence. That means when we do not have awareness or consciousness of the physical body or the Andakarana or the Sukshma Sharira, we still exist, but we do have no knowledge about the physical and the gross, subtle bodies. That state is what is called as deep sleep by the waker. The waking person calls it as a, sushupti avastha or the deep sleep avastha. But the opponent is asking Shankara that is that the one who is the indweller, which we all know by the term Jivatma. So there is a name Atma which is known, and there is a Jivatma which is known. So he is confused between the two. So is he the Jiva? Was the question which was asked, for which Acharya says no. Acharya says very clearly that Jiva is different from the Atma. Why? Because he is not limited by the Jiva. The Jivatvam is restricted with the physicality and the subtleness of the physical and subtle bodies. Whereas Atma is not limited by that. But we don't have the unlimited experience of our own Atma. Therefore, we are confused that we are the Jiva, or that knowledge that we are limited is due to the identification with that knower through the subtle and the physical body. But we at the same time, we also know that we are the knower of the subtle body and the gross body. Therefore, Acharya says, no, that the one self which I am referring, which is the knower of the Sushma and Sthula Sharira, or the consciousness or awareness or the substratum for them, is the Atma, which is, I would rather call him as Ishvara, the Supreme Self itself, because he is the self of all. This self-feeling, which even though we individually we may feel as separate, but the nature of that knowledge of Atma, I, not the I am, the I feeling is common to all, animals, human beings, everyone. Even a cow or a dog or a horse has the feeling of self, because of which there will be self-protection and self-nurturing nature of behavior which is happening. There also they have this, what you call, superimposition, thinking that they are the physical body. But they don't have the intellect like human beings to differentiate between the Atma and the Jiva. Therefore, it is called Sarvatma. Sarva is a word for including everything. It is all, mean there is nothing outside it. It is the self of all. Self of all in the sense it is not possessed by all, rather it is present in everyone. See, the Sanskrit language has got beauty in it. That is, you can connect it as a relationship between the one which is owning and one is which is being owned. That is the difference in the formation of the compound. But at the same time, it can also be formed using different principle. So when it is said that it is self of all, it doesn't mean that every cell, every body or every being has a self. It is not that way. It is the self for all. Here the difference change, self of all has to be studied as self for all. Therefore, Sarvatma has to be known as that is the self for all. But that Purvapakshi or the opponent has still the doubt. If he is Ishvara and Sarvatma, doesn't that violate the non-dual aspect of Advaita? It's a valid question. That he is Ishvara and Sarvatma means he is taking the meaning of Sarvatma as self of all, not self for all. Therefore, he is thinking that it is violating the non-dual principle or Advaitam. The answer given by Acharya is no. Because this self or Ishvara is essentially one non-dual as the truth or essence of everything. It is the essence in which everybody or everybody is taking adherence to. Therefore, Advaitam Paramarthada. There is the Swarupa of everyone. Swarupa means the nature of everything. Therefore, the nature in which Ishvara or Atma is not individual to each of the creation, but it is for the creation there is one self, and every self is seen in that. Then it can be asked, would then he be subject to modifications or changes? If he has a relationship, whatever may be the nature, whether it is he is the self for all or self of all, will not he, as the body changes, will not the self also undergo modifications or changes? Because the dependency, if there is any relationship, whatever may be that, the related, when it is changing, the relationship also goes through change. Therefore, there will be a change in the self also. This is what the opponent is asking. Acharya says no, because he is said to be Sarvatita. It is beyond all, means it is not constrained or regulated or contained by any creation in it, by the body's qualities or changes, etc. Therefore, it is Sarvatita. Atita means beyond. Sarva Atita means beyond all. If such an self exists, the question comes from the Purvapakshi or the opponent is that, why don't we perceive him? If it is for everyone, and everyone has a dependency on that, or that why is it that he is not perceived, or he is not cognizable, or he is not available for perception? The answer is very, very tricky. The answer given is that he is already evident in everything as the self of every experience. The I in every experience, because every experience is related to I am seeing, I am hearing, I am breathing, I am walking, I am touching, I am sitting. All any other experience, I am thinking, I am daydreaming, or emotions, feelings and thought. Even there that connection is there, saying that I in every experience. Pratibodham. Every experience is pratibodham. In that pratibodham or in that every experience, there is mandatory the presence of the I. Otherwise, no experience will be ever known. So the experience is dependent upon the I. Therefore, it is said that he is already evident as the I in every experience. Therefore, he is direct. Inner awareness ever present. And the very ground for the I feeling or I thought in everyone. Everything. Animals, birds, human beings, everything. It is direct. Sakshat. Inner awareness. Therefore, it is not pratyaksha. Therefore, it becomes aparoksha. So, yet sakshat aparokshat. And ever present. Nityaha. So, that nitya pratyaksha or nitya aparoksha of sakshat, nature, whereby pratibodha viditam matam amritam tohi vindate, Upanishad, we said that. I thought that every experience, there is an experiencer. But the experiencer is not the karta, not the doership which we are talking about. The knower without taking the ownership of the doing of knowing. The action of knowing is not in it. But in the presence of it, the mind perceives that it is knowing. So, the knowing in the mind can happen only when the Atma is the experiencer or is blessing the mind for knowledge. Therefore, the Purva Pakshi or the opponent is asking, then is this I which you are talking about ahankara or ego or the individuality based on which I, mine, I am doing, this thing is mine, that is not mine, all those activities of ego. So Acharya says no, because he is avyaya. Avyaya means unchanging and unaffected. Whereas the ego or the individuality or the feeling of the I as the individual undergoes change. When I am experiencing the world of waking, I am the waker and the I in the waking world is based on the waker. But that is not available when I am becoming the dreamer in my dream. There also I am experiencing, there also I am having I, mine, my feelings that I am the experiencer there and there. The dreamer has an I, ego there. So therefore the waker ego has gone through change to become the dreamer ego, I. And in all these places, both in waking and dream, this ego gets affected based on what is happening in the experience. Therefore, it reacts either favorably or unfavorably. This reaction is of the ego, which is located in the antakarana or the inner equipment. It is that which is reacting and feeling that I am knowing. In pure awareness or in the self, there is no authorship, no ownership, no doership. Akarta, abhokta. Therefore, it is unaffected. Therefore, the word avyaya suits only for the self, atma, not for the ego, ahankara. And he is the witness, sakshi, even for the ahankara. Even when the reactions are being projected by the inner equipment, we are aware of the anger, love, hatred, etc., which is happening in the mind. which is prompted by the reaction of the ego, we are aware of it. And when we say, I am, we are referring to our association with the subtle and the physical body. Therefore, when we say mine or related to my physical or subtle body, that is perceivable by the witness, the sakshi, as the activity of the ego. So when this is happening, we call it as a sakshi, but it is not even sakshi in the absence of these events happening, which is in the deep sleep. In the deep sleep, there is not even a sakshi. Or when we know that we are beyond the waking dream and deep sleep as self, Atma, then Tebhyo Vilakshanat Sakshi Chinmatroham Sadashivam. We become that pure consciousness, awareness, which is beyond the Vilakshana, beyond the three states of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and in each state there is the knower, known, and the subject. We are beyond that. We'll go to the next verse, which is the 41st sloka. Ityatmadeha bhagena prapañcasya eva satyata tatokta tarkasastrena tataha kim puruṣārtha. Iti thus means, like the explanation done in the previous sloka, Atmadeha bhagena, by enunciating or differentiating between the Atma and the Deha. Prapañcasya eva satyata. The satyata or the reality, prapañcasya means of the phenomenal world, is indeed what is being established by tarkasastrena, yata tarkasastrena ukta. Because Tarkashastra, the Nyāya Vaisheshika school, establishes that Atma is a dravya which is separate from the Deha. Deha is Prithvi, Parthivam, or they have got different methods in which they categorize material and, Atma, Mana, etc. They are all dravyas for them. Therefore, in the Tarkasastrena Ukta is said in the Tarkashastra in the same way, in the same fashion. Tada kim puruṣārtha, then what will be the human life, purpose of human life for? Is what is the question which is being asked, for which the commentator Vidyaranya Swami is explaining in detail. Ata idanim atmana dehadvayat vibhinnatvam pratipaditam pratipadidanam anarthakam iti sankyate iti. Iti ityukte purvokta prakarena varnitena atmadeha vibhagena prapañcasya eva satyata tatokta yata tarkashastrena. So, now it is doubted that whether this assertion that the self is distinct from the two bodies, like the gross and the subtle, which we have seen it in the previous verse, is meaningless or pointless if, it is not going to help us in the puruṣārtha. Puruṣārtha is what are the dharmartha, kama, moksha activities of the body, physical body or the human life. Purvokta prakarena varnitena atmadeha vibhagena, like the distinction which was made between the Atma and the Deha. Prapañcasya eva satyata tadokta, the reality of the world is thereby affirmed and implied, which seems to be contradictory to Advaita, as given in the Tarkashastra. yada tarkashastrena. Tata prapañcasya satyatva pradivatanat kim puruṣārtha. The opponent is asking, if the world is reality, because you say Atma is there and then Deha, Veda. So Atma is Satya, Deha is also Satya. Deha means prapañca. Everything becomes, other than the Atma becomes the prapañca. The world is, reality is established as per him, if that is the case. Then what will be the spiritual goal for a human life? If there is no reality for the, Deha, only Atma is Satya. So, Swami Vidyaranya says that, Kutsita puruṣārthatvam bhayanivritti abhavad ityartha. Dvidiyad vai bhayam bhavati iti shrutehe. It would mean that the goal becomes inferior. Puruṣārtha is not to be really followed, because why should we do dharma, artha, kama, moksha? If the prapañca is unreal and it is not valid for the purpose of, achieving the puruṣārthas, then what is the great deal in Shastras talking about the puruṣārtha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, the puruṣārtha, main four puruṣārtha, and that has to be pulled. And moksha is also one of them, is given. Dharma, not only dharma has to be there, then artha, kama are the means, and moksha. So it says that kutsita puruṣārthatvam. The goals of the puruṣārtha is inferior, because there is no removal of fear in the puruṣārtha. Here is very subtle difference between them. Dharma, artha, kama, even moksha for that matter, if we do not know the non-dual meaning of moksha, all other categories of moksha is riddled with a problem of fear from the otherness. Dvidiyad vai bhayam bhavati. The Bṛhadāraṇyaka Upaniṣad, first chapter, fourth pada, second mantra is this. Dvidiyad vai bhayam bhavati. Vai means indeed. Dvidiyad, from the second, bhayam bhavati. The fear arises or fear happens. Whenever we have something other than us, we have to be afraid of that, because one is, it is limiting us or limiting me when something other than me is present. Second thing is that the power of the other, where I do not know, just as much as I know my power, but I do not know the power of the other. If something is existing, that it can be powerful, therefore I need to be afraid of it. Even if it is a speck of dust which can fall into our eyes and we can become problem to us. Or anything we see, even an object in our dream, is a cause of fear. A lion in a dream is causing fear. A ghost in the dream is fear. Anything other than me, even my own shadow, is sometimes can scare me. I think I remember a long time back in one of the clubhouses where I mentioned that an incident where a child got scared by seeing his own feet stretched beyond the blanket. But for a minute, the child could not realize it was his own legs. He thought somebody is putting the hand from the bottom of the cot, and he started screaming. Only when the parents came and pulled the rug out and showed him, it says, no, it's not nobody else, it is your own leg. The child got pacified, but the fear did not go for a long time. So to that extent, anything even if it is our body, our shadow, it can give us fear. There are cases where people have got afraid of a shadow of their own, this thing falling when they were walking on a glass door or a surface where they didn't expect somebody else in the house to be there. Suddenly they saw a shadow moving. It was a light which was moving and their shadow kept moving on the wall or the glass. They got scared. All this shows that other than us, if we have an experience of other than us, there is a potency for we getting afraid of it. Dvidiyad vayam bhayam bhavati. Therefore, there can be a reason for fear. And this is what is called the kutsita puruṣārtham, is inferior puruṣārtha or inferior means of achievements in life, whether it is dharma, artha, kama or moksha, other than the advaitic moksha, which is being referred to here. In the 42nd verse, Acharya is taking us to the Ityatma deha bedena dehatmatvam nivaritam. Idanim deha bedasya hi asatvam spudamuchyate. Iti means thus. In the last two verses, we have Atma deha bedena dehatma tvam nivaritam. By enunciating or explaining the difference between the Atma and the body, the association of the feeling of sense of I-ness in the Deha, that is what is called the Dehatmatvam. That I am the physical body is denied, nivaritam, na nirvartam. There is a difference between nivaritam and nirvartam. A person who has done Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana will get freed from that feeling of Dehatma Buddhi. But those who are intellectually appreciating this, they will appreciate it, but they don't have a experience of I am not the body. Therefore, Acharya very clearly uses a word which is called nivaritam, in the sense it is denied, or the chance for the body being identified as the self has been denied or removed. But is it our experience? That we have to think about it ourselves. To drive home this aspect, he is further expanding it. Idanim deha bedasya hi asatvam spudam uchyate. Now, deha bedasya means deha atma bedasya. So, deha bedasya, the difference of the body from that of Atman. Indeed, he means indeed, verily. Asatvam, that the body is the Atma, that is asatyam. Asatvam here means unreal. Nasat, asat. The nature of being unreal. For the body to have the feeling of I-ness. Spodam uchyate is clearly being stated in the following verses. So, we have been given clear picture that under no circumstances the subtle or the gross body can be the I. It is the self, Atma, which is Sarvatma, Avyaya, Sarvatita, all those qualities which you have to keep it in mind all the time. If we forget and associate with the physical body, then we will never be able to have the Aparokshanubhuti as our realization. Yaksashat Aparokshat Brahma. That will never happen. For here, he is ensuring that that is nailed in such a condition that there is no way when we can even fall back onto the body for the feeling of I. Asatvam spudamuchyate. That is the most important part. It is not there. Asatvam means sat. Sat means existence. The body is not there. That is being spudamuchyate, is being clearly stated. How does he do that? It is not the unreality between the difference between the two alone what is being told. He is going to take us beyond that. If we read the commentary of Bṛhadāraṇyaka, it is very clear. Vedajnanasya abedajnanam prati karanatvat atmadeha vibhaga katanam na anartakyam iti aha iti. Vedajnanasya. Differentiation knowledge of difference between the Deha and Atma, the duality. Here the duality is Atma and Anatma, because everything else other than Atma is Deha in this definition. So Atma and Anatma. So the Karana Sharira or the Sula Sharira or the Sukshma Sharira, all of them are Anatmas. Anatma in the sense different from Atma. Abeda jnanam prati karanatvat. What is that causing the non-difference between the self and the subtle or the physical body? There is a karanatvam for that. That we should understand. The stepping stone or the cause for it. For that purpose, Atma Deha Vibhaga Katanam na anartakam. These two verses of 40 and 41 were the differentiation between the body and the Atma or Atma and the Deha. Vibhaga Katanam means the distinction, and Katanam means discussion for the distinction. The discussion for the distinction between the self and the world or the physical body and subtle body is not purposeless, na anartakam. Therefore, the word iti means iti purvokta prakarena atmadeha bedena atmana dehat pritakkaraṇena dehasya eva praptam charvaka matena atmatvam tan nivaritam. Again here, another verse is being used for charvaka. Charvaka means charuvak. Charuvak means sweet words or most appeasing words. Is that, they all have that, is that all these Shastras and Vedas and all talking bullshit. There is nothing called Atma or Brahman. All that is there in this physical body. We have to live here, eat, enjoy and die. Now there is nothing called the life after life. There is nothing called Purvajanma or what you call fate or goodwill. Just enjoy the moment, eat well, sleep well and continue your life till the death. And there is nothing to be buried after death. There is no going to Swarga, no going to Naraka. There is no rebirth. This is the words of Charuvaka. And this was a very appeasing or accepted philosophy before these Vedas and Shastras came into picture, and even before Sankhya, Nyāya, or Vaisheshika, etc. came. Because it is the experience of every human being day-to-day living. So it was based upon that. There is even text written on that. Charvaka Samhita is there. So that is now being removed. The words of Charvaka has been removed by Deha Atma Beda Prithakkaranena. Means by separating that there is a knower of even for the body. The body is not the knower. Because the changes in the body is known. Therefore, the knower has to be different from that one which is changing. That is what Purvokta Prakarena. This is the way in which it was explained in the previous verses. That way, Charvaka Matam, or what are the philosophy of the Charvaka, has been denied. That Purvoktena Atma Deha Vedena Atmana Dehat Prithakkaranena Dehasya evam eva praptam Charvaka Matena Atmatvam tan nivaritam. So the established philosophy of the Charvaka on the dependence on the body has been denied or removed. Idanim uttara grandena tasya deha bedasya asatvam atma satta vyatirikta satta rahityam sputam tava spashtam yatha syat tata hi iti prasiddham uchyate. Idanim, now, after having denied the philosophy of Charvaka, Uttara Grandena means the latter part of this book or this verses. Tasya means Deha Vedasya. The bodily distinction. Asattum. Asattum means non-existence or non-real. Unreality of the Deha as Atma. Atma Satta Vyatirikta Satta Rahityam. It's a very complicated word, but very simple. Absence of any reality apart from the existence of the self. That means Atma Satta. That means existence of the self. Vyatirikta, apart from that. Satta Rahityam means absence of reality for anything other than the Atma. Therefore, Atma Satta is the only reality. Sputam is very clear. Yadasya tatahi prasiddham uchyate. That is well known and is being stated by the latter part of the verses. So, in this distinction from the body and the self and the non-dual knowledge or Advaita Jnanam removes the Charvaka Matam or the materialist notion. And now Acharya Shankara is taking us toward the later part of the teaching where unreality of the body distinctions and thereby establishing that the only self is the real and everything other than the self. There is nothing other than self which is real. This is why it is non-dual. Ekameva dvitiyam Brahma. That is the way in which it is doing. Now the 43rd verse, we will see that. Chaitanyasya ekarupatva abhavad chaitanyasya ekarupatvat vedaha yuktaha yada rajjoho sarpagraha jivatvam cha mrisha kneyam rajjo sarpagraho yada. That is chaitanyasya ekarupatvad vedo yuktaha na karhichit. That is what is being told. Chaitanyasya means the chetana or the awareness or consciousness in us. Ekarupatvat. There is only one form or one nature for it. Wherever it is, awareness or consciousness is of nature of one. You cannot divide it. You cannot bifurcate it. You cannot change it. You cannot alter it. There is only one awareness and consciousness, or one awareness, or that Chaitanya. Kahinchit at any time. Therefore, Vedaha na yuktaha. Therefore, Vedaha means differentiation in the Atma is ayuktaha, not yukta. Yada rajau sarpagraha mrisha tada jivatvam mrisha neyam. Yatha, just as rajau, in this rope, sarpagraha, apprehension of snake on a rope, how it is false or mithya or mrisha, tada, in the same fashion, jivatvam in the body, the duality of jiva, the individuality of mrisha eva, neyam, is to be known. That is, even the individuality of the jiva must be known as false, means the jiva is not separate, is not independent. Tada eva aha chaitanyasya iti. Tada means in the very that very thing is stated as consciousness. What? Atma. Chaitanyasya sarva bhuta bhautika prapañca adhisthana prakashasya. Chaitanyasya, of the consciousness or the awareness, sarva bhuta bhautika prapañca adhisthana. It's a substratum. As a substratum, awareness or consciousness is a substratum for the material phenomena and the living beings, both inert and live materials, sentient and insentient. The entire realm of it, sarva bhuta bhautika prapañca. There is nothing outside it. The reason being prakashasya. That is what is the awareness or the consciousness is the substratum or the light or the illumination in which the what you call the living beings and the inert materials are being apprehended. Their presence is known only due to awareness. Ghada prakashate, pata prakashate ityadishu eka rupatvat, eka karanatvat atoho. Ghada prakashate. The pot is seen. Ghada prakashate. The pata prakashate. The cloth is seen. Ityadishu eka rupatvat. That the uniformity of experience in them. Even though the pot is changing, the cloth is changing, the cow is changing, the horse is changing, you are changing, my body is changing, but the prakashatvam or the nature in which we are aware of them, eka rupatvat, in the uniformity of the way in which experiences are being felt. It is the cow or the horse or the pata or the gata. Whether the inert materials like the pot and the cloth or the living beings like the cow and the horse. When we say we are experiencing it, the experiencing is an uniformity of experiences. Ekak akaratvat. Akaram means the appearance. Appearance of what? Not the objects. The appearance of the experience, the awareness. The awareness when we see a cow, the awareness when we see a horse, the awareness when we see a pot, the awareness when we see a cloth, there is a uniformity in it, sameness. Eka rupatvat, eka akaratvat. Hetoho. That is the reason why Atma is only one. Tarhichit kasyamchit avasthayam api bedaha na yuktaha na yatartha ityartaha. Even in any particular instance or condition, karhichit, ya kasyamchit avasthayam api bedaha na yuktaha. The tenability for a differentiation between the experiences. I'm not talking about the content of the experience, the nature of experience. There is no tenability for it. Na yathartha. What is yathartha? The awareness is yathartha, but what is being not seen is not yathartha. Tarhi jiva bedaha satyaha syad ityataha jivatvam. Then jiva beda, the difference between the individual self, satya sad, the opponent is a question asking. If that is the case, I am seeing, you are also seeing. Therefore, I am different, you are different. Is what now he is bringing, the differentiation. Jivattum cha karaha api ityartaha mrishat nyayam. Jivattum, individuality or the sense of being, individuality, I, you, etc. Karaha api means the notion of agency. Karaha means karakatva. That is also to be known as false. Why? Tad upadehe eva andakaranadehe maya mayatvad ityartaha. Tad upadehe eva. Because that the limiting adjunct, upadi means limiting adjunct. Upadi is an instrument or limiting adjunct. Andakaranadehe maya mayatvad. Due to the nature of being deluded, nature of the andakarana or the mind and intellect, etc. is the reason why the jivatvam prataktvam, the differentiation in the individuals, like you are different, I am different, your experience is different, my experience is different, is based on the andakaranadehe maya mayatvat. It is the quality of the inner instruments what makes the difference between you and me, not the Chaitanya in you and the Chaitanya in me. The awareness or the consciousness is one and the same. Since it is being used through the andakarana as a upadi. Upadi means limiting adjunct through which it is being utilized for the perception. The sense organs are there. The mind is the one which is receiving the senses from the sense organs. All the three, the sense organs and the mind, are Maya Mayatvad, is made due to, they are of nature of Maya, means illusion or a delusion, ignorance. That is the reason why there is a pruthaktuvam or differentiation between the jivatvam. Adhisthana satyatvena kalpitasya mityatva bodhe drishtantam aha rajjaviri. Now, through an example of the snake and the rope, adhisthana satyatvena kalpitasya mityatva bodha. That which is being imagined upon a real substratum and the falsity of what is being grasped, mityatva bodham. To show that, the example drishtantam aha rajjo iti. The example is given, rope and the snake. Yatha rajjau tadatnyanat vakrata adi sadrishyena manda andakare sarpagrahaha sarpabuddhihi avyutpannasya bhavati natu vyutpannasya. This is the most important aspect of it. Yada rajjao tadatnyanat. Just as in the case of the rope, tadatnyanat. That is the most important word which you have to remember here. The ignorance of the rope, the real nature of the rope, or the satta of the rope, or the astitvam of the rope, or the reality of the rope. Ajnanat. Due to the ignorance of that. Vakrata adi sadrishyena. The resemblance of vakrata means crookedness or the curvature which we see of the rope and the snake being identical. Manda andakare, in a poorly lit situation, the rope is now sarpagrahaha. Sarpagrahaha means perception of a snake or sarpabuddhi. The thought of snake arises. Because of the perception of the vakrata, the cause is similarity of the between the rope and the snake, the vakrata, etc. The rope and the snake has got similarity. The absence of the knowledge of the right knowledge of the rope now is substituted or superimposed by a knowledge which I know, a similarity between them. What is that? The vakrata ityadi, the curvature, etc. Therefore, sarpa buddhi. I develop the thought in me that it is snake. Even it may be for a fraction of a second. Avyutpannasya, the one which has no right knowledge. So, ajnana is the person who is avyutpanna. Rajjau tadatnyanat. Then he has the ajnana of the rope. Therefore, the ajnana is now bringing a jnana, a knowledge, which is similar to the substratum which is being seen as the crooked snake, rope, becomes snake. Natu vyutpannasya. But a person who knows it is a rope, he never gets deluded, or even though he knows both the rope and the snake. See the beauty of it. Vyutpanna means one who has the knowledge, correct knowledge. he has the knowledge of both the rope and the snake. The one who is now seeing the snake in place of rope doesn't have the knowledge of the rope, whatever may be the cause, dim light or whatever may be the condition under which he is explaining that or experiencing that, is the reason why he substitutes atasmin tadbuddhi. The words used by Shankaracharya in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya is that in place of something, something else. Atasmin means in the substratum which is real. Tadbuddhi, something else is the idea which comes in. Therefore, he thinks that the rope is the snake. Tata eva atmani atma atnyanad prakasha sadrishyat avishesha prakasho chit jada grandhi rupa chidabhasa brahma bhavati avivekinam natu vivekinam. The same words he has repeated here, except Rajju and Sarpa has been replaced by Atma and Anatma. Tatha eva, yatha Rajju Sarpa, tatha eva, same way, Atmani, in the self, Atma Atnyanat, just as the rope was unknown due for the ignorant person, here the ignorant person do not know Atma. Even though he is Atma, he has no knowledge of what is the nature of Atma. Prakasha sadrishyat. Because similarity of consciousness of the nature of shining. Here is the important aspect of it. The shining of awareness in the mind is similar to the shining of awareness. But the mind has no knowledge of Atma. Therefore, the shining or the illumining nature of the consciousness of the mind now takes on the nature that I am the Atma. Avishesha prakashe, avishesha prakashe means due to the undifferentiated illumination of the similarity of the nature between the consciousness which is appearing in all. Chit jada grandhi rupa chidabhasa brahmaha. Chit jada grandhi. Grandhi means knot or the confusion between the two. What are they? Chit and jada. The consciousness and inert or the matter which is non-conscious. The mind and the bodies have no consciousness of their own because they are objects. They become known when Atma Prakasha, Tasya Bhasa Sarvamidam Vibhati, which we have discussed in earlier this thing. Therefore, there is a Grandhi, Chit Jada Grandhi. Vidyate Hritaya Grandhi, Siddhyate Sarva Samshayaha, Shiyande Chasya Karmani, Tasmin Drishte Paravare. In the Chandogya Upanishad 7th chapter, we studied this, where Narada was instructed by Sanaka. Vidyate Hritaya Grandhi. Hritaya Grandhi means the knot in the heart where the Antakarana is the situation. That is the place where the Grandhi is remaining there. That is the delusion that the Atma, which is shining through the mind takes the role of that Aham Atma. That is the ego sense which comes in there. So when that is lost, when the knowledge comes, Vidyate Hritaya Grandhi, this confusion in the heart or the mind goes. Siddhyade sarva samshaya. All confusion, ignorance, Ajnana samshaya viparya. This is all included in the word. Siddhna samshaya. It gets scattered. Which means it cannot remain anymore. It is just like in the heat of the sunlight, the fog becomes dissipated or not destroyed or doesn't remain there anymore. In the light, true light of the knowledge, in the Atma, in the Hridaya, that the covering of the ignorance which was holding on to the Atma in the Hridaya, making it feel that it is the individual or it is the self, that is being broken. Chidabhasa Brahma, the Chidabhasa Brahma, misidentification that I am the Chit, I am the Chit. The mind says I am the Chit, I am the self. The non-self saying I am the self. That is the Chidabhasa Brahma. Avati avivekinam. For the ignorant, this is the thing which is happening. Natu vivekinam. For the one who has realized the process of Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, of the way in which this discerning is taking place and established, will bring the knowledge, and that is the one which will remove this gandhi, this knot in the heart. Idi Vedanta Siddhanta Rahasyam. This is the essential secret of Vedanta. Vedanta means Vedanam Anta. It is the culmination of knowledge. Yatnyatva sarvamidam vitnyadam bhavati. Knowing which there is nothing more to be learned, or there is nothing more to be known, because that knowledge is called sarvajñatva. That is what is called here Vedanta Siddhanta Rahasyam. We'll stop here. We'll take the next verse, which is the 44th verse in the Friday's class. It is the continuation of the Rajjvajnana. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavada.
Thank you, Binduji. Again, a very profound session with a lot of manana to be done. I've opened up the chat. The hand raising is available for anybody who wants to come up and ask
Prakash, she can barely be heard.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just let me see if I can fix the problem. Is it better now?
A little bit, but you're very soft. Very soft.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Is it better now?
It's a little bit better. It's just talk as loud as you can.
Okay. I was just wondering if it's a Bluetooth or not, but it looks like it's showing poor connection for me, but I'm right beside my...
Yeah, now we can hear you. Okay, yeah, stay close.
Perfect. Okay, all I was wanting to say was these hand raising is on, so if anybody wants to come up, and we have about 20 minutes Binduji's time. Binduji, I have a question if nobody is coming up. With reference...
Go ahead, Prasad.
With reference to Atman and Anatman. Because, there is Atma Brahma Aikyam. There is Sarvam Kalvidam Brahman. Then what is, in this context, it is mainly a discernment, right? With reference to what is Atman and Atman. Am I interpreting it correctly?
See, Atma, Brahma are synonyms. It is not Aikyam. Atma and Brahma are the same. There is no way in which you can differentiate between that. But here, what is happening is that the jivatvam or the feeling of the individuality is what is being clarified here. Because none of us feel that we are Brahman or Atma. Why that is happening is what is being, as you said, discerned here in such a way that unless we stop associating ourselves to be individuals, we can never realize what is the self. To know the self, we have to remove the non-self as our true nature. First of all, we never knew that there is something called non-self, which is what we are calling ourselves as the self. Now, when the verse up to 40 and 41 was studied, we knew that the body is not capable of having the awareness, because body is also an object in awareness. So this verse, the last verse which was brought in, is to make us go into a, what you call, introspection in such a way that whatever has been taught in this previous verses, that need to be established as our own experience, not knowledge. See, our own experience, when I used to say that, I always feel that, we should mention this at what we call intellectual appreciation is one thing which is different from living that experience. Intellectually, what we know, we seldom take effort to live that. But here is not a philosophy. It's a fact which is being put in front of us, which we cannot counter and say that it is wrong under any circumstances. And when it is being pointed out to, you are that, Tattvamasi, or you are that, we need to do the introspection in such a fashion that it is being spoken about something which I am feeling as I. At the same time, what I was feeling as I till now is a ignorance or my wrong knowledge in which I was thinking myself to be I. So that is what the purpose of the 40, 41 and this particular 43rd verse. Now 43rd onwards, it is starting to ascertain what is our true nature. Till 41, what we are not was shown. Now what we are and how it is that we should know as we are is the theme of the verses from 41 onwards. No, 43 onwards, not 43, 41 onwards. That is the differentiation between that. It is not Atma or Brahman, but here it is that Atma and Anatma.
Yes, thank you, Binduji. Sujit is up here. Sujit, go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, sir, I just heard that you compared, you actually compared between the snake and the rope, which was a beautiful comparison according to me. But I have been observing a lot of things from the Indian mythological perspective, where the snake is represented with multiple heads. does it mean that we, as a human being, have to think in multiple point of perspective at a time? But is it possible to think at multiple things at a time? Can we manage it? Like, what will be the cognitive load, and how can one handle such situations?
Advaita doesn't talk about mythology at all. Advaita talks only about paramartha, or the truth of our experience. Our true experience is of the importance for Advaita. Mythology, there's multiple-headed snake, the characters in the mythology and are all for people who cannot think logically. They are more emotional people, and they don't remember these, cryptic words and sentences of Upanishads, etc. For them to understand the same thing what is being told in the Upanishads, etc., has been sugar-coated or wrapped up in, stories where characters have been built, unreal characters have been built to make it as if they are real, and those have been projected as the mythological stories. So never compare a mythological story with Upanishadic Advaita.
Sujat, if you have no follow-up questions, we can go to Preeti. Welcome, Preeti.
Hari Om, and
Hari Om, Preeti. Yes, Preeti.
I have a question, and I had a sort of a doubt, or a sort of an intuition, or some sort of question about the architectural building of, or construction of, Anantashayana temple, or what we call Divyadesham. So there are 3 doorways in a temple as such, when you go to Anantapadmanabha Swami, or you go to Srirangam for that matter. So there are 3 doorways, and one of them is a mirror. Okay, so I just want to know the significance of the mirror in Advaita, and if there is a physical mirror that is silvered. It's kept in one of the doorways. So is it about recognizing yourself in that mirror, or what we call the antar mirror?
See, there is no connection between the temple construction, mirrors, etc. They are all coming under a different branch of what you call ritualistic aspects of Vedas. Whereas the Upanishad and Advaita talks only about the knowledge aspect. And in the knowledge aspect, mirror is an example used to bring in an aspect of illusion. The elusive nature of the object inside the what you call mirror being confused by an ignorant child to be another child and reacting. That is the same way in Advaita we say that we are all by nature self, Atma, but we are pretending to be individuals and behaving as if we are separate. So there the mirror is used as an example for the purpose of illusion, but not the way in which you want to connect it to the temple and the mirror in the temple. And that way, if you go into any Shiva temple, the backside of the Shiva temple, you will find there is mirror kept and a lamp lighting there. So again, the question of what is the significance of mirror in the Shiva temple. There is a significance for that by the people in the, those who are well versed in the, what you call, kshetra construction. They will be able to give you the, what you call, tantric. These are all called tantras in the sense, not the tantra which we normally hear about, in the Devi Tantra, Upasana Tantra. The Kshetra also a category of Tantra only. So they will be able to tell those aspects. But in Advaita, mirror has only one role to play, that it is an illusion. Seeing your own illusion, you can get confused. Same way, we are seeing our own illusion, but we are thinking that they are all different in the world.
Thank you, Binduji.
Thank you, Preeti. Which country are you residing?
I live in India, Chennai.
Chennai, okay. Ganesh Prasad, you are not able to come? Did you go to your profile and click on you have to go to your profile and click.
Yeah, Ganesh ji is having some difficulty with Ganesh ji, it says you have been already invited. So you go to your profile and then you'll see accept speaker invitation. Oh, there he is. Namaste.
Good evening, Binduji.
Good evening.
There was no question as such. I think by mistake it got pressed. Thank you for inviting me. But still, in today's class, I think the main focus is on the Atma and Anatma, isn't it?
Yes.
And body, mind, and whatever the thinking process and everything, it belongs to Anatma. And Anatma is in a way activated or made to function only because of the Chaitanya of the Atma, isn't it?
Yes. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. In the presence of Atma, everything appears to be known.
So it is basically Brahma or Atma is Chaitanya.
Yes.
And it doesn't have any functionality as such in it. Because of it, everything functions, but it doesn't have any functionality as such, as once you mentioned about the sunlight.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Binduji.
Thank you, Ganesh. Because since there is nobody, I think we can stop. Close.
Sure, Vinodji. So, yeah. So again, thank you everyone for attending this session. And as I had mentioned earlier, the replays are available in Clubhouse or in Advaita Retold. And the best way to go forward is to do the Sravana Manana with the earlier sessions, because then when you come into this live session, you're actually participating in your own realization. And again, heartfelt thanks to Binduji for conducting this in such a consistent, meticulous, and very, very facilitating manner. So thank you, Binduji. And thank you, Artemisia, for helping us organize this. So our next session is on Friday, 8:30 IST, following which we will have a break of one class, and then we resume back on Wednesday, 6:30 IST. Over to Bindu.
AM.
Vote session.
6:30 AM.
6:30 AM IST. Right. Yes. Absolutely.
Thank you, Prakash.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Atmisha. Preeti, Ganesh, and there was one more person. Okay. We'll meet again on, Suchita. Yes, Sujit. Right. We'll meet on Friday, continue from the 44th verse onwards. And as Prakash said, Sunday we will not be having any open house this coming Sunday. So we'll meet on the following Wednesday, 6:30 AM Indian time. For next 3 months it will be the timing. Wednesday and Friday and Monday. Hari Om. Good night.
Good night, Binduji. Namaste.
Good night.